StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is the levels of getting paid. Yes, there are levels to getting paid. Before we get into this, I remind you all of two things specifically. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text message, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do to receive these messages is be a member of my text community. It is free to join. Just text me at my number, 305-384-6894. Once we start sending those messages again, you'll be getting them straight to your phone, and you'll even be able to tell us how often you would like to hear from us. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all my coaching. If you would like to have me as your direct coach, where we're going to work on your mindset, your strategies, your systems, and your accountability to make sure we implement and get you to results, high-level results, consistently achieved, and producing outcomes that you want, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, you will have me as your direct coach. That is the only way to make that happen. That link is down below in the description. That out the way, let's get into the topic here today, which is the levels of getting paid. And yes, there are levels to getting paid. It's not just a dollar is a dollar. No, it is how you're making that dollar, and it tells you what level that you're at. And as I explain this, you will fully understand it, and you'll understand what level you are currently at and what level you would like to be at. This episode is specifically made for the entrepreneurs who want to step up your revenue production, and you want to make it easier for yourself to bring in money, along with working with the ideal people who you would like to serve in your business, the ideal customers, ideal clients, ideal members, whatever it is that you call the people who pay you for the stuff that you're offering. There are levels to how this is done, and today I'm going to explain what those levels are, how those levels work, and why they work the way that they do. And you will understand that there are levels. You'll again be able to suss out where you're at and where you want to be. Point number one, topic once again is the levels of getting paid. Number one, first level is getting paid for what you know. Getting paid for your knowledge. First level of getting paid is, again, your knowledge, your ability, the things that you do with the things that you know. This is all getting paid for what you know. Some of you may be looking at that like, that sounds like a pretty good thing. If I can get paid for my knowledge and share it, that's great. Well, wait until you hear the rest of the levels, then you'll understand. When I worked at McDonald's, for example, or at CVS, the convenience store, I got paid for what I did. I got paid for the actions that I did there that were based on the knowledge that was handed to me. So flipping burgers, they taught me how to flip the burgers, and I did it, and I got paid. I got paid because I understood how to flip the burger, and I did it. Putting the fries in the bag, working the checkout register for customers. This is the lowest level of getting paid, though. Although I will make clear that depending on what you know, you can make a significant amount of money at this level. Okay, so I'm not saying that this is necessarily bad. Based on what you know and what you're charging for, you can make a great living just getting paid for what you know. Let me give you an example. So I'll just use a McDonald's worker as a low-end example, but let me give you a high-end example of someone who gets paid for what they know. A doctor gets paid for what they know, even though they get paid a whole lot more than a person who is working at McDonald's. They are still paid for what they know. They are paid for the knowledge that is in their head, and that is the reason why they can charge what they charge. If you write a book and sell it, and people buy your book because they want the information that's in the book, like a lot of my books are that type, personal and professional development books, then they are paying you for what you know and what you're sharing. Doesn't necessarily have to be your knowledge. It could be a form of entertainment. If you tell your personal story, that's something that you know, and people are paying for it. If you're writing a fiction book, you just made up a story, people are paying you for what you know. When you sell a course, for example, if you have a course on here's how to put up drywall in your house. All right, when you sell that course, what are you doing? You're getting paid for what you know because you're transferring knowledge from your brain to the customer, all right, through the course, using the course as the vehicle to get your knowledge from your head to their head. There is a range here, as I'm making clear. There's a range to the amount of money you can make when you're selling what you know, but they're all at the same level. So level one is what you know. You can make a small amount of money. You can make enough money that is less than what people are now calling the living wage. And if you ask me, there's no such thing as a living wage. It's just a wage. It's just whatever you earn. If what you're earning is not enough to take care of your living, then you need to step up what you're doing or change what you're doing so that it is enough. But it's not the job's responsibility to pay it to you just because you need it. I don't see it that way. And if you want to know what I think about that, I'm glad that you asked. I will tell you about what I had to say regarding the living wage in episode number 2314. So you can go find that at workonyourgamepodcast.com. So there's a low range there where you're barely making enough for a living wage or maybe less, to a very high range where you can live a very good lifestyle for a long time based on the money you make as an author or as a course creator or as a doctor. Doctors are known for making pretty good money, right? They're all getting paid for what they know. Now, let me tell you about the next level. Point number 2, today's topic, once again, is the levels of getting paid. Second level is getting paid for what you do. This is the second level of getting paid because your payments are based on the activities that you are able to execute on. Now, again, there's a range here. This doesn't necessarily mean that if you're at level 1, you make less money than the people at level 2. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. We're talking about how you are making your money, not how much, but how you're making the money. So a doctor can make more money than a bunch of people at level 2, even though the way a doctor is making money is still at level 1. It could be kind of a mix, actually, because the doctor knows things and they have to do things. So you have to be able to look at these through that lens. And when I get to level 3, you'll understand why some of these blend together. Some professions can be in multiple groups. Number 2, again, this is the second level. Your payments are based on your executions, your actions. A construction worker, for example, is paid for what they do because the main payment, yes, a construction worker needs to know how to do certain jobs, but the main thing a construction worker is paid for is their physical labor. You understand? Just knowing how to do it, you don't make any money, construction worker, but you will make money if you show up to the construction site and do your job, you put in your hours, you get paid. All right? And again, as I said, a doctor can be in both groups. So the doctor is paid for what they know. You're paying for their knowledge. Like when I went to a doctor a few years ago, this famous orthopedist down here in Miami, and it was like $450 I spent, and I talked to the guy for literally 6 minutes, and I was paying him for what he knew. He didn't do anything, so I wasn't paying for what he did. All we did was talk. He just told me what his diagnosis was, which I did not. I had an option to follow it or not, but it wasn't going to happen right there on the spot. He just gave me his diagnosis. He got paid just based on his knowledge. That's the only reason I showed up, because he's allegedly this guy who knows this stuff. And I'll tell you, you'll learn more about that when we get to level 3. So a construction worker, they're not paid for knowledge, they're paid for execution because they need bodies. Or the buildings that get put together need bodies, and there will eventually come a point, I would say probably within our lifetimes, within the next 50 years, that there will be machines and artificial intelligence bots that can build buildings and eliminate the need for human construction workers. So if you're a human construction worker, you can make good money doing that, but understand that your job is on the clock and there are computer chips. There's an engineer working somewhere in Silicon Valley working on a computer chip that is going to replace the need for you on the job site. That is coming very soon, and buildings will be able to be built much faster when you take humans out of the equation, and now you can do it with computers. But I digress. Same way that an NFL or NBA player, they're not going to be replaced by computers, at least not in our lifetimes, I don't think. They are paid for what they do. You play professional football, professional basketball, or baseball or hockey, you are paid for what you do. When you stop being able to do it, you can't make money anymore. You know it, but you can't do it anymore, you don't get paid. Everybody agree? When I played basketball professionally, I got paid for playing basketball. I didn't get paid because I knew basketball. I got paid because I could play. And when I stopped playing, despite the fact that I didn't lose any of my knowledge, I wasn't getting paid anymore. All right, so you are solidly at level 2 if you are paid for what you physically do. Again, as with the first level, there's a wide range of money that you can earn at these levels because different activities are worth different amounts of money to different people. A doctor can be paid for what they know and also what they do, such as a surgeon performing a surgery, they're paid for the action of surgery. Or someone finding out what the problem is. When my knee was bothering me, the doctor diagnosed what the issue was. He got paid for what he knew. Or somebody has a consistent headache. You can, based on what you know, you can figure it out. And that's why you get paid. The challenge of getting paid for what you do is that you have to keep doing it to keep getting paid. That's the challenge of getting paid for what you do, getting paid for physical labor. So if you're a construction worker, I'm assuming that you're making solid money while you're doing your construction work. The problem is if you get injured, you don't get paid while you're injured, unless it's some kind of workers' comp or something. And when you retire, you don't get paid for all the work that you did over the years. So you paid a part in constructing 20 buildings around town. Those buildings are all up and running and generating revenue. You don't get royalties because you helped do the construction. You stop making money as soon as you stop doing the activity. When Michael Jordan stopped playing in the NBA stopped cutting Michael Jordan checks. At least as a player, they did. He didn't get any check. You don't get a royalty check because you played for the team 10 years ago and you stopped playing. All right, the check stops as soon as you stop. So that's what happens when you're at level 2. And that is the challenge of level 2, is that your pay stops as soon as you stop putting in the effort. Then the challenge with level 1 is that If other people, places, things come to have the same knowledge that you have, then we don't need to consult you for the knowledge anymore. Necessarily, it depends on how your knowledge is being disseminated. That's why I tell you that my number one tool here is not information. Right? You can get information online for free. You get information from my books for a very low cost. My key is insight, which you cannot get online for free. I can give you the insight because I can look at your situation and help you ask a question that you would never know how to ask. You can't go to Google and tell it to help you ask a question because it doesn't know what it doesn't know. Google doesn't have the human intuitive skills that someone like myself has. And you always better have some skills that are ahead of technology. Otherwise, technology will replace you. So, basketball player who retires from playing doesn't get a check anymore, at least not for playing. Anytime you're getting paid for what you do, you have to keep doing it, keep running on that treadmill to keep the money coming in. Professional speakers, you're getting paid for what you do. As soon as you stop doing speeches, you stop getting paid. Consultants, as soon as you stop consulting, authors, as soon as you stop writing books, we're facing a similar dilemma. In this case, it is hard to take a break, and you often can't afford to get sick or get injured. You can't afford to go on vacation. You can't afford to retire because when you stop, the money stops. All right, so you have to be thinking long term if you're in one of these places and you don't plan on going to another level, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment. There's another level that you can go to, or just start thinking about your future. How can you take some of that money and put it into something, somewhere, somehow that will keep money coming into you even when you stop doing all the activities? I've known some personal trainers. I've known a few of them, as a matter of fact. I've heard this saying, in not in so many words, but I've heard this sentiment expressed by several personal trainers, people who work in the fitness business over the years, like over the last 15 years. When I'm thinking about it, it's been so many of them. Almost all of them who I've known and I've got to talk to several times have all said this at some point. They've said some form of, I cannot afford to get injured. I can't afford to be injured. I can't afford to get sick. I can't afford to take a vacation. It's not that they don't get injured, get sick, or take vacations. It's just that it is very harmful to them when they get injured, get sick, or take a vacation. Why? Because the only way they make money is by continually running on the treadmill. And as soon as they stop running, injury, sickness, vacation, the money stops. And they need that money. And this is the challenge of being at level 2. Some of you are living at level 2 right now, where you're only getting paid when you are doing stuff. And there's no other way for you to make money. I'm going to tell you another way that you can make money that can produce a much higher return on investment and can last a lot longer and can give you some resources that maybe you can put into other vehicles and give you more resources, rather, because you get resources from level 1 or level 2, but even more resources that will create margin that allows you to do other things. Would you like to know about that third level? Good. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the levels of getting paid. Third level is getting paid for, so we got getting paid for what you know. That was level 1. Level 2 is getting paid for what you do. Level 3, getting paid for who you are. Getting paid for who you are. Now, who you are knows things and does things, but the reason you're getting paid is because of who you are. Let me explain what I mean by this. This is the highest level of getting paid, where you're getting paid simply for, you know what this is? You're getting paid for your brand name. That's what this is. When you're at this level, you are getting paid for your brand name. 2 and 3 days ago, what did we talk about? Investing in your brand, why to do it and how to do it. This is where you can put that to work by getting yourself to level 3, where you're getting paid for your brand. This is what who you are means. Who you are is, what is your brand? What do people see you as? What do you represent in the marketplace? That's what it means when someone is asking, who are you? That's what they want to know. People may not say that out loud, but that's really what they want to know. When I reach out to someone for a speaking gig that I want to do, first thing they want to know is, who are you? Who are you? And when they say, who am I? They don't mean, my name is Dre Baldwin. They want to know that. But the first thing they're thinking when they hear the name Dre Baldwin is, who? Or do I know this guy? Is he somebody? Now, maybe they don't know me, but they should. They're going to look me up. They want to find out about me. You have a website. You have some links. Can you send me some information? What are they looking for? They want to know what my brand name is. They want to know the strength of my brand. Because if my brand name is strong enough, then that alone is enough for them to know, okay, what group are we going to put this guy in? Is this somebody we actually are considering, or is he not? Is this someone who could actually help us, or is he not? It depends on their goals and what they need. And every situation is different. The whole point is they want to know what your brand is in the marketplace. I understand that the professions that I reference in points 1 and 2, you can be at level 3 even if you start out at level 1 or level 2. So you can get paid for what you know and for what you do, and get paid for who you are. You get paid on all 3 levels at the same time. So again, I made it clear earlier, I'll say it again. These levels are not diametrically opposed to each other, and it's 3 levels, so it's not really diametric. Is triametric even a word? but they're not opposed to each other. You could be in all three levels at the same time. You could be in two of them. You could be in only one of them. You could be in none of them if you're not making any money. But the point is, you can overlap levels at the same time. So let's go back to our example of the doctor. Even the doctor that I went and saw here in Miami. I went and saw that doctor. Number one, the first reason that I found that doctor is because he had a reputation. What is that? That's his brand. He had a reputation as being the best orthopedist in Miami. What is that? That is me looking him up because of who he was. Not because of what he knew, not because of what he did, but because of who he was. That was level 3. The reason his fees were what they were is because of who he was, not because of what he did. He didn't do anything. As I said, we just talked. And it was kind of because of what he knew, but I could go find somebody fresh out of damn medical school who might have known the same thing that he knew, and the fee would have been 1/10 of what this doctor's fee was. The reason I paid is because of who he was, his reputation. That's what I paid for. I paid for his reputation. Reputation comes with a price tag, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not mad about paying this guy what I paid him. I'm happy that I paid him what I paid him because it taught me a lesson that I am now transferring to you, that when your name brand is strong enough, your price goes up. Everybody catching it? If you catch anything from this episode, this is it. When your name brand is strong enough, you can have the same knowledge as everybody else. You could do the same stuff that everybody else does, but your price goes up just because of who you are. I remember years ago, I went to my sister had graduated from, she had gotten her some postgraduate degrees from Stanford University. My sister was really an academic overachiever. And she went to University of Pennsylvania for undergrad, and then she went to Stanford University for her postgrad. So anybody don't know anything about the university world, you know that's highly impressive, right? So she was graduating from Stanford, and the graduation ceremony commencement speaker was Bill Gates. And at this time, this is right when I was starting my professional speaking career. So I was interested to hear what Bill Gates had to say, because I'm thinking, I know Bill Gates probably got a big speaking fee for coming and speaking at this conference. I wonder what he's going to say. I want to know, how great is Bill Gates of a speaker compared to me, so that I can understand why Bill Gates makes whatever he makes for speaking and why I'm making. At that time, I probably hadn't even done a paid speech yet. And I listened to his speech, and Bill Gates' speech was whack. It sucked. I remember writing an article about this. Like, this speech was whack. He didn't say anything. It was garbage. It wasn't really any substance in Bill Gates' commencement speech. And what I didn't know then, but I know now, is that Bill Gates wasn't getting paid for the quality of his speech. This is what I want you to understand. Bill Gates did not get paid because he was going to give an amazing speech. The reason Bill Gates got paid to give that speech is because he's Bill Gates. The fact that Bill Gates was in the room is the only thing that anybody's going to remember about that speech. It was 10 years ago. And anybody who graduated from Stanford that day can say, hey, you know who spoke at my graduation speech? Bill Gates. And somebody says, well, what did he say? They're not going to remember what he said, because what he said is inconsequential. It doesn't really matter because he didn't say anything that mattered. What he did was show up and be Bill Gates, which is why he got paid. Bill Gates got paid for who he was, not for what he did and not for what he knew. Now, what he does and what he knows is why he's Bill Gates. So you see how these pieces all work together? Because of what Bill Gates knows, which led to the things that he did, he became who he is. Should I say that one more time? Because of what Bill Gates knows, which led to the things that he did, he became who he is, which is why he can get what he gets. I don't know what his fee was for that speech, but I'm assuming it was a 5-figure number, and not a small 5 figures. I'm figuring at least $50,000. It was probably more than that. Bill Gates probably got paid at least $50,000 for that 25-minute speech that I don't remember a single word of because it wasn't memorable. But he got paid $50,000 for it. And the Stanford University who paid him for the speech, I guarantee you, nobody came to the office the day after that graduation and said, man, we paid Bill Gates $50,000 and he didn't give us our money's worth. We're disappointed in that investment. Nobody said that. No one, nobody said that because they weren't paying him for the quality of the speech. They were paying him to show up and be him. That's all he got. That's what he got paid for. Show up and be who you are. That's what he got paid for. How would you like to get paid that way? And then on top of that, actually be good at what you do and have knowledge. Bill Gates is good at what he does and has knowledge, but he's not a professional speech giver. He's a technological guy and what is the word? Philanthropist, and helping the world out and turning poop into drinking water and all the stuff Bill Gates is doing. That's why he's Bill Gates, right? Not because of his quality of speeches. And guess what? Stanford knows that, and they still paid him $50,000. Everybody understand? Would they have given me the $50,000? No. Why? Because they would have said, "Who are you, Dre Baldwin? Who? Where? What? Nobody knows you. We're not paying you anything." No, you can't speak at our commencement. You get the point? That's what they're paying for. They pay for who he was. Okay, so when I mentioned that doctor in Miami, again, I paid for who he was. I didn't pay for his knowledge. He didn't do anything. And I didn't even follow his advice. I paid for who he was. All right, he wasn't getting paid for his knowledge. I don't give a damn about his knowledge, and I don't trust hospitals like that anyway. But it was a serious enough problem for me that I wanted to go to the person with the strongest name reputation on the subject. That's why I went to see him. In the consulting space, there are well-known consultants out there who are sought after and desired, and they're able to command higher fees than other consultants who have the same knowledge. They all got the same information, but one consultant has a $100,000 fee, the other one has a $1,000 fee. What's the difference? Why is one consultant charging 100 times more money than the other consultant, even though they have the same knowledge? And why does the one who charges 100,000 make more money than the person who's charging 1,000? Why is this? Anybody know? Because of who they are. That's it. Because of who they are. Remember what I told you a few episodes back when I was talking about branding. Human beings tend to flock to things that other human beings are already flocking to. When you show yourself when you show the world that you're a person who other people want to deal with, other people want to deal with you. Right? People pay attention to that. They notice that and they will respond to that. That is called your brand. When your brand is strong enough, it starts doing the work for you, and you start getting paid more for your brand than for your skill. That's where you want to be. In case anybody didn't catch the hints that I'm giving you here, this is the level that you want to be at, level 3. You can have knowledge and be good at what you do, but you want to get paid for who you are. Everybody catch it? Have knowledge, be good at what you do, but get paid for who you are. Get paid for your brand name. Now, in order to get paid for your brand name, folks, let's take a couple steps back. You got to actually have one. So you don't have a brand name yet, go do that. I just told you, I gave you 2 episodes on how to do it. All right, get your brand in place first, then start getting paid based on your brand. Forget about the getting paid for knowledge and effort, because those eventually run out or you run into a problem. The stronger your brand, the more you get paid, basically. The stronger your brand, the more you can command. That's how you want to say it. The stronger your brand, the more you command. Great news about getting paid for who you are is that there are no informational limits. In other words, AI cannot replace you. And there are no physical limits. In other words, you still get paid even if you're not doing anything. You get paid just for being you. Again, Bill Gates showed up. He didn't do much. He gave his weak speech that is very forgettable. He still got paid 50 grand or more. Might have been 100,000. Bill Gates is very famous. Might have been 100,000. I may be underselling his speech fee. I would say you lean more towards 100,000 than 50,000. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it. Again, there are no information or physical limits to this, as with the other levels. You can get paid for who you are without doing anything. You just be who you are and get paid. Now, how do you do that? It's like if, I'm trying to think of an example. Somebody could go take a picture of, somebody could reach out to, let's say, Kim Kardashian and say, Kim, we want to use you as a spokesmodel for these new Gucci sunglasses that we're going to sell. All we need to do is have you do one photo shoot, taking a bunch of pictures wearing Gucci sunglasses, and Kim will do it, a 2-hour photo shoot. Gucci takes all the photos, and now they use the billboard with her picture to sell those glasses. Kim Kardashian didn't really do anything. I mean, she had to stand there and take the photos, but is that really that much work? No, but she might get paid a couple $1 million for that campaign. That's getting paid for who you are. Now, they had taken some other girl who was equally as attractive, however you want to measure that, as Kim Kardashian, and did the exact same photo shoot for the exact same campaign. That girl might have got paid $20,000, whereas Kim got the 10 or 20 million. What's the difference between the two girls? Again, in looks, the difference is not that much. What's the difference? The difference is on one billboard, oh, here's a pretty girl wearing some Gucci sunglasses. Okay. On another billboard is like, oh, look, Kim Kardashian. That's the difference. That's the difference between 20,000 and 20 million. If any of you didn't know, that's the difference. It's 100x difference. Who you are. And again, you don't have to know that much. I don't know how knowledgeable is Kim Kardashian on anything. I would say not much. But this is how you can see a person who is very known, making a lot of money without doing anything. This is it. This is how it works, folks. And again, if you happen to be able to do something, even better. All right. Michael Jordan had done things. He's really good at doing stuff, but his name is worth even more. He don't even play anymore. He don't do anything anymore, but he still can make money off his name if he wanted to. He still does, as a matter of fact. Jordan's sneakers still sell. Jordan ain't played basketball in 20 years. This is why you can see an older person who's famous from sports, like Michael Jordan, or any other retired athlete, or a retired politician, like say Barack Obama. He's not a politician anymore. He's out of the game. But if Barack Obama was to go speak at a conference, guess what? He's making Bill Gates money. for that speech. Actually, he asked for more money than Bill Gates. Might be $250,000 for Barack Obama to come speak at a conference. Everybody understand? Why? Is it because his speech is going to be so amazing? Maybe. Maybe not. I'm not saying that's why. No, I'm saying his speech might be amazing and it might be trash, but he's not getting paid for the speech. He's getting paid because he's Barack Obama. That's why he's getting paid. Doesn't matter what he says. He can just stand up there and just stand there and stare at the crowd for 20 minutes. He'll still get paid the same amount because they're not paying for the talk. So this is why, again, a retired athlete can get an endorsement deal. This is how George Foreman got on his Foreman grill. He wasn't boxing anymore. They got him on there because he was a name. His name was worth money. And when they put his name on the grill started selling. Is George Foreman some cooking expert? No. Is George Foreman some type of mechanic or inventor who creates grills? No, that grill was already out. They just put George Foreman's name on it. The grill already existed. Nobody was buying it. They put his name on it, started selling. George Foreman picked up a check because of who he is, not because of anything else. You want to get to the highest level and what you're doing, start getting paid for this reason. And the way you do this is to invest in brand. Let's recap today's class, which is the 3 levels of getting paid. Again, this is specifically for the entrepreneurs out there who gets to name your own price. I'm telling you how you move up. And again, remember, you could be in any one of these levels, 2 of the 3 or all 3 at the same time. The ideal one is the 3rd one. Number 1, getting paid for what you know. This is just when you have knowledge and you're able to either trade on it or execute on it. An author gets paid for what they know. A school teacher, someone who works at McDonald's, a doctor, a consultant. These people all get paid for what they know. Level 2 is what you do. This is when you're getting paid for your physical execution. So this is a construction worker, also a doctor, a consultant or a coach, a personal trainer. The challenge with this level is that you're on a treadmill. Professional speakers, consultants, authors, you're on a treadmill. And then the only way you can get off the treadmill is to stop working, which also means your money stops coming in, which is a problem for most people. So this is a place where if you are here, you want to find your way out of here as quickly as possible because it's quicksand. Eventually it's going to take you under. Number 3, getting paid for who you are. All right, this is Bill Gates getting paid $100,000 or Barack Obama getting paid $250,000 for giving a speech. It doesn't matter what they say in the speech. The speech doesn't even have to be good. They're getting paid a whole lot of money because of who they are, and their name recognition makes people feel good just by being in the same room as them, regardless of what they do while they're in the room. All right, there's the reason why Michael Jordan's sneakers still sell. He hasn't played in 20 years. There are people who are excited to buy a pair of Jordan sneakers who were not even alive when Jordan was playing. Why do they want the sneakers? Because of who he is. All right, his brand name is so strong that people want the sneakers and never even saw the guy play. That's the level that you want to get to in what you do. You can get paid at that level, then your effort and your knowledge are completely detached from your money. That's where you want to be because that is the best place to make money. All that being said, folks, text me, see you in my community. My number is 305-384-6894. And you want to learn to build your brand up. And again, you don't have to be Barack Obama or Bill Gates, but if you can make your brand worth something in your space with the people who you want to serve, that can increase your income tenfold quickly. Let me help you do that by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see what our program is about. I just told you, mindset, strategy, systems, accountability for implementation. We're looking for high performance, consistency of performance, and producing results. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all